Welcome to Lost on Ice, the show about the show 20 years later. Today we're talking about Season 1, Episodes 18, 19, 20, and 21. You can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show every week that can be found at patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. And this week, we both out in the trees.
Yeah.
This is, you copied me.
I'm in the jungle that they call upstate New York. It's not a forest. Though, I've noticed the people on Lost, I noticed that this week. They call it a jungle sometimes, I think, and they definitely call it a forest sometimes too.
Yeah.
I also think.
It just matter how wet it is, how humid? Is that the difference?
I feel like it kind of depends on the trees, but I guess those are kind of one and the same at a certain point too.
Okay, here we go. A forest has many tall trees. This is from Britannica. A forest has many tall trees and can usually be traveled through by humans. The word jungle is usually used to describe a tangled or overgrown mass of vegetation over a large area of land. A jungle usually has a tropical or humid climate and many plants on the ground between trees and larger plants. So a forest is just a bunch of tall trees. And the jungle has like the whole like thick vegetation and is moist.
And is the implication that you can't travel through it? I feel like there are a lot of notable jungle people, who presumably were going through the forest. Tarzan.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah, we have been getting notes from people to ask you to stop saying jungle people, but like Werner Herzog would beg to differ that you can't get through a jungle.
Okay.
Right? You can go through a jungle if you're him.
Yeah, exactly. You can take a big boat.
And his team.
You can take a big boat, whatever you call that. That's also probably not quite the right word. That's probably like if I called a jungle a forest, maybe technically correct that thing was a boat. But yeah, it's what do you call that thing? Steamboat? That's closer. Steamboat?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it was. Probably like a ship, a vessel
a ship
of some sort, water vessel, watercraft.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not what we're talking about this week. We're talking about Lost. And last week, I mentioned that I was hating this show and I was done with it. If we weren't doing the podcast, I would have stopped watching it. Well, I'm glad we're doing the podcast because we are so back. These episodes were great. It's the strongest run of episodes so far to me. We're way back in on the island mystery stuff, and the character backstories this time around are actually interesting. So I'm happy this time around.
I'm glad because I was going to ask you, and I was going to mentally settle in for you to be upset for the next year or whatever. Because if you don't like these episodes, then I don't know. I mean, I do think it still
We're gonna have a problem.
I think it gets better, but if you're like, damn, it's worse now, then like we are on a bad trajectory for you.
No, this is significantly better this week. Night and day, I guess. So let's just jump right into it. We're talking numbers.
Can I say one thing though?
Yeah.
I don't have any idea how I'm going to fit this in. So I just want to say this now. I've been doing a little imagining myself. This isn't even imagining, but I have the phrase "the island of interest" or "the isle of interest," sort of like the zone of interest, going through my mind as I've been watching these episodes. And take that, do with it what you want to do. A little gift for me, listeners.
Yeah, listeners, write in with your favorite fun spin on everyone's favorite romp, the zone of interest. You can have all sorts of fun with that. Let us know what you think. We actually have been. Did you see the thing I sent you? We have listeners calling me a simp, and please stop that. Please don't call me a simp. That's about enough from you guys on that front. I'm not a simp.
Are you simping for me? Is that what the idea is?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
I'm simping for Shannon
ABC.
is what they've accused me of
Shannon.
uh, because of the age gap discourse that we got into last week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
they're calling themselves Ben Nation. It's okay that there's a big age gap. This is how it's been throughout history. Is what they were
Sure.
saying.
Okay.
Also, okay. All right, season 1, episode 18, Numbers. Air date March 2nd, 2005. Directed by Dan Atias and written by Brent Fletcher and David Fury. It's the Hurley episode. Hurley becomes obsessed with finding the French woman and heads off into the jungle to find her, leaving Jack, Saeed, and Charlie no choice but to follow him. One super quick diversion here. So that's a summary copied from Google when you Google Lost Season 1, Episode 18. I guess, okay, French woman was one word. There wasn't a space between the words. And I guess, yeah, I guess you hear people say like Frenchman, and French woman. Just go ahead and leave a space though.
Isn't
Feel
there what's the ableism thing where are you supposed to put the person first?
person first, a person of France, a
I just
woman of
I re-
France.
I can't really remember which way it goes, but yeah.
No, yeah,
It
you're
might
supposed
go
to
both
person
ways.
first identifiers,
Sure. So a woman,
a
France.
woman of France. Okay.
I don't want that extra
Peop-
of in there. Just woman, France.
okay. People of the jungle is how you think you're supposed to be saying it. In flashbacks, Hurley wins the lottery using the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42. However, his life quickly spirals into chaos as those around him suffer bizarre misfortunes. His grandfather dies of a heart attack. The priest officiating the burial is struck by lightning. His brother's wife leaves him. His mother breaks her ankle while the house he bought her burns down, and he's falsely arrested. Desperate for answers, Hurley visits Leonard Sims, a patient at a mental asylum who constantly mutters the same numbers. Upon hearing about Hurley's lottery win, Leonard panics and warns that the numbers are cursed, urging Hurley to find Sam Toomey in Kalgoorlie, Australia. He travels to Australia only to learn from Toomey's widow Martha that Sam had committed suicide 4 years earlier. She explains that Sam and Leonard had heard the numbers while monitoring radio transmissions during their Navy service. After using the numbers to win a guessing game, Sam suffered a series of misfortunes, ultimately leading to his death. Despite this, Martha believes there is no curse, telling Hurley that people make their own luck. And so, yeah, Hurley's backstory was a lot of fun, despite it being, riddled with misfortune and all that. But he's a very, very likable guy. He's great, and I'm all about like the weird supernatural stuff, like the curse numbers. It's kind of funny, the things that are going on. Like, I love his big Hummer he's driving around in his tracksuit and gold chain. The house he buys for his mom's immediately on fire when he gets there. He's still saying "dude" out there. He goes to the financial advisor. That scene was great. And somebody jumps off the building while he's in there. But he's getting rich. He's getting richer and richer. Even though things are going really poorly otherwise.
Yeah. I'll say that episode has always stuck in my mind. I was testing you last week to see if you recognized who we hadn't had a flashback episode of yet, and I was
And I
trying
said
to
Hurley.
get at Hurley. Yes, yeah. And I thought though that they made you wait more than one season to get to Hurley. So I guess I was wrong about that, but
Oh.
that just, I guess, shows how it's always stuck in my mind, especially that picture of him pulling up to his house on fire, talking to his mom in the Hummer, her
Yeah.
chastising him about not believing in curses because they're Catholic.
Yes, we're Catholic. We don't believe in curses.
Yeah.
And his real name is Hugo, right? Like it's
Yeah.
Hugo Hurley. Yeah. So on the island, Hurley discovers the cursed numbers repeated in documents from Rousseau's camp, fueling his obsession to find her and learn the truth. He wakes Saeed up in the middle of the night. Okay, so Saeed stopped caring about about the maps and stuff. I
I
can't
think
quite.
he got a little freaked out, I think. And he's just like he's kind of a guy who saw a ghost, I think. I don't want to go back to
Well,
that. I don't want to believe in that.
yes. I know that's kind of like the general like character where he's at now. But for a little bit when he returned with Rousseau's documents, he was interested in finding out more. That's when he recruited Shannon. And then sort of like conveniently for the plot, off screen decided that it's spooky time for him, and so has no interest in pursuing it. Am I right on that? Like the timeline?
I guess.
Like he was trying to get Shannon to like translate the documents. That was after he got back from Rousseau's captivity and everything.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to like find more about the island. We got the triangulation, and then suddenly he's like, I don't want to talk about it. Forget it.
Yeah. TV magic, everybody goes away for a week and then you come back and you're like, yeah, I changed my mind. Everybody on the island changed their mind too, We can forget about Claire for a couple weeks. Claire is temporarily suspended in a kidnapped state, and we'll come back to her in 4 weeks, 4 television weeks time.
Okay. Gotcha. So Hurley ignores Saeed's warnings. And it sets off alone, following a mysterious cable from the ocean into the jungle. Despite triggering trap.
They don't do enough with that cable, I gotta say. They're like,
oh, really?
Let's follow the cable to find a woman. I'm just saying, so far. I'm not talking
so
about
far. Okay.
The future.
You're never gonna explain the cable. That was it.
Yeah, it's just you find a man-made cable and you're like, wow, this leads to a French woman. Let's focus on her. I mean, I would just be like, those are 2 big discoveries, but
yeah,
I'm definitely going to return to the cable. That's not like like I guess if I found like a booby trap in
that's the
forest,
French woman cable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I found like a trap in the forest, like the one that she sets, I'd be like, this is temporarily occupied quite a bit of my mind. But when I realized it was made by a French woman, I'd be like, okay, I'm moving on to the French woman. But in the case of the cable, I'm coming back to the cable. I might temporarily move on to the French woman, but now I've got 2 major things to investigate.
Yeah. So like, and Saeed should have teased that apart in his brain too. I think that they're like, and he probably should have like reported to the rest of the camp too. That's like, okay, I don't want to talk about what happened after I found the cable, but like, there's a cable. And even like when Jack, Saeed, and Charlie like follow Hurley and follow the cable and all that too, there should have been like some discussion. That's like, isn't this fucking crazy? There's a cable.
Yeah,
that's so nuts, you guys.
Can we do another quick pause? And I don't want to say too much. Though I will say one thing. I'm curious if anything comes to your mind of other things that TV magic has made us kind of forget about, that if you were on the island, you might still be thinking about.
Ooh, a test. The boar. No one that no one's eating.
That's
and
close.
That,
to what I was...
that like there's this hatch.
The hatch. Okay, I'll this isn't I think I'm a little hesitant to bring this up, but what about the
The other
thing,
people?
the thing that kind of
The
scared
monster.
everyone,
Yeah. Yeah.
the monster, if you will. Yes. Uh,
Yeah.
if you're new to the show, uh, just think about that was a pretty big part of the first couple episodes, and everyone's kind of ignoring it. TV
Sure.
Magic ignoring it for a while. I just wanted to call
It's
that out. I wondered if anything else came to mind for you, similar to the cable or the monster.
Gotcha. Yeah, it seemed like there was a sort of like the polar bear kind of like maybe was supposed to be this thing that like could have took the place of that maybe. A little sleight of hand or something. I don't know.
Sure. I think if I was on that island, I'd still be thinking about that polar bear, though. Then not like, damn, that was weird. Let's
Anyway, probably no more of that.
figure something
Yeah.
else out. Yeah.
I I still got to say the Ethan reveal is still like by far the most like freaky thing that's happened.
Mm.
And if I was on there, I would be like, I'm sure I would be worried about the bears and the monsters and all of that as well. But like, just the fact that there was like just some guy already here that we've been like hanging out with on the beach is so scary to me. And I think I would constantly be like, you guys, there's like more people out here. This is so
Yeah.
scary.
Can can I? I guess also call out too. Like, Saeed originally ran across the French woman, uh, the woman of France,
Hmm.
because he set out to sort of chart the island, walk the shores, chart the island. He runs into a cable, he runs into her, he ends up back with everyone else. They kind of gave up on that too, though, like, hey, the island
Yeah.
is still not
Try the
charted.
other direction. Yeah.
We've now seen at least two people, and a polar bear, and you know, I'm getting the feeling that something might be going on here. I think if I was on the island, I'd be thinking, maybe we're in like Hawaii or something like that. Like maybe we just need to
But like
walk
literally, yeah, there
around a
might be just
little bit
something
more.
around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, we've stayed here for a long time without trying to figure that one out, and
Yeah.
we've now got people that are trying to sail back into the ocean. They were whatever they said 1,000 miles off course, some unknown number of miles off course. Might have just ended up in Hawaii, right, or New Zealand or something
Hmm.
like that.
Absolutely. Uh, this, yeah, for sure. And also, it seems like there's a good amount of like, there's a few useful professions on the island. People who have had experience in things that would be helpful here. I gotta say, has no one's brought up like what's going on with the stars? Like, could we figure out where we are based on looking at the stars? Um, to be fair, wouldn't really know what to do with that myself.
No.
But I think you can figure it out. I think you can. Maybe you start tracking them. You just start like, I don't know, making some notes and trying to piece it together. They figured it out. Someone figured it out before. Maybe with half remembered high school mathematics, we can ourselves do this once again. We don't. What else going on? Anything else going on?
Yeah. I mean, I think they've resigned themselves probably correctly to the idea that we are on a random island and we are in the middle of the Pacific, and there's nothing we can do except get off of the island by waiting for someone to come get us. And that's probably why they're not doing much of the stars stuff. Though I will
But
call
what
out
if you are super close to something else?
something else.
You
Yeah.
do the math and you realize like, okay, just beyond the horizon, or like it could be just like 100 miles away or something. Is like California or something, maybe.
Sure. Maybe, yeah. I want to say though, on the star thing, it's a good call out for why, you know, Locke is in my mind he's a little bit of a poser outdoorsman, right? He's got the guns. He knows how to kill boars and fight and all of that stuff. How about a little Cub Scout knowledge? Look at those stars, like you're saying. How
Yeah.
about
Oh,
tying knots
I think
and
that
stars
they've
and
made
things like that?
his. Well, my theory about this last week, and I think that it still holds true here, is that like, I mean, I guess we see that he goes hunting late in this later episode or something, but like he doesn't. He's not actually outdoorsy at all. He's just kind of randomly. Um, he's just like in tune with the island, and he's just kind of trusting his instinct on this. Like he doesn't actually have any experience, as far as I know. Maybe we're supposed to sort of think that he does, and I think it would be cooler if we find out that he doesn't have any experience whatsoever. He was just going to try to vibe it out on the walkabout or something.
Yeah. Well, that's the stolen, but he's wearing cargo pants, and that's the stolen valor that I would be calling out if I was on the island. I'd say,
Oh, gotcha.
Mr. Locke, you are a poser. Take off those cargo pants. Men and women who are in the Cub Scouts earn the right to wear big baggy pants with large pockets. You have not. You just like to carry a knife around.
My my middle school principal, Mr. Blackwell, would always go on this. I don't want to outright say it was racist, but I think it's pretty clear that like the thinly veiled, you know how people would come up with. He took umbrage with baggy clothes, very strong umbrage with baggy clothes, and I think that we've seen how that plays out sometimes. But his justification for why baggy clothes were no good is because one time he saw somebody with a biology textbook in their pocket. That their pants were so big that they fit a biology textbook in their pocket.
Interesting. A very I want to be racist like vibe, but I live in Iowa and I only am surrounded by other white people like me. Vibe.
Yeah, you just have to come up with imagined, populations to be racist too in your imagination. Yeah.
Pull up your pants. Pull that biology textbook out of your boxers.
Yeah. Like, no, you didn't. No pockets are that big, dumbass. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, despite triggering traps set by Rousseau, Hurley remarkably avoids injury. I thought this is cool. He's kind of skating through things. He's able to jump off the mine. He's able to cross the bridge. We're getting a lot of like, but he's fat. Yeah. From the other from the peanut gallery. Like my man Hurley holding it down.
Yeah. I mean, you get his mindset, right? You understand the Hurley mindset a lot better, that he believes that he's in this weird position as a cursed man who himself is, cursed with the blessing of basically immortality and extremely good luck for himself, but cursing everyone around him, which I'm sure there is some Greek myth that is that exact same thing, but I don't know it. I did not like Greek mythology in second grade.
Well, what about this isn't Greek mythology, but the Midas guy, right?
The tire man. No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it's
the tire.
Everything he touches turns to gold.
Gold. That would be Goldfinger. That's a James Bond character that you're thinking of.
Yes, my bad. Oh, by the way, have you clocked the name of the director of photography for most of these episodes so far?
No, I don't think so.
His name is Michael Bonvillain. Not Bond villain, but Bonvillain.
Wow, nice. That's cool.
Yes, pretty sick.
That's very cool. Give that guy a director credit just so that he can get his name a little bigger.
Yeah. My name's Mr. Bonvillain.
All right. His credit should be like the way that they do Lost at the end of the episode, where it's the big blender
The big
font,
3D
and it
text
should just be
flying through. Oh,
Bond
gotcha.
villain. Yeah, the 3D Bond villain, just because he's got a cool name.
Mm-hmm. I thought you'd like that.
Nice.
Jack, Saeed, and Charlie eventually catch up to Hurley, and the group reaches a rope bridge. Hurley crosses safely, but the bridge collapses under Charlie, separating the group into Jack and Saeed and Charlie and Hurley. Charlie is very no one trusts Hurley here. They're like, he's crazy, you're being nuts. Calm down. And Hurley's a man on a mission. He is not about to listen to them. And I'm thinking, go Hurley. Don't be deterred, my man. Jack and Saeed reach Rousseau's old shelter, but a trap explodes, destroying it. Meanwhile, Hurley and Charlie are ambushed, and Hurley confronts Rousseau, demanding answers about the numbers. Rousseau admits that she doesn't know their true meaning, but recounts how her team was drawn to the island by the numbers' radio transmission before their shipwreck. Her team became sick, and she changed the transmission to a distress call after losing everyone she cared about. Rousseau agrees that the numbers are cursed, validating Hurley's belief. Hurley, relieved to find someone who understands, hugs her. I thought that was a cool moment where, like, Rousseau is, at this point, or maybe forever, based on the information that we have, is like, she killed her whole team. But, like, kind of pretty, like, antisocial, maybe, like, not the most well-adjusted or friendly person. She's kind of a wild creature at this point. Perhaps always has been. And Hurley is just like, he's not treating her like a like the dangerous predator she basically is. I mean, he's holding her hands up. He's holding his hands up, but he's very like he's very driven by this like whole curse situation that he's letting that override the sort of like animalistic, like placating you might do the way that like Saeed was maybe doing to somebody who has their life in somebody's hands, and it's just like, tell me about this stuff. What's going on? Like, you're being XYZ, and then like just goes in for the hug, and like I thought that was cool how that was an effective strategy, and like she just lets him go. We don't see the exit, but like he shows up again.
Yeah, it's a good little TV trope, being so crazy. What if I was so crazy that I convinced the other person? Right? They're like, damn, how can this big guy be so crazy? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't write.
But we don't even
tropes.
see like. We don't even like that is a trope, but I didn't necessarily even read it like that, where Rousseau was just like, damn, this guy's crazy, I better hear him out. It was just a sort of like, for some reason they kind of like locked on the wavelength, and she just answered him completely honestly, without like, what's he actually getting at, or something like that.
Sure.
Returning to camp, Hurley provides Jack, Saeed, and Charlie with a battery from Rousseau for Michael's raft. On the beach, Hurley confides his wealth to Charlie, who dismisses it as a joke. Charlie, I guess, like, doesn't. I don't know. Charlie like confides to Hurley that like, I'm actually a heroin addict, and I get that maybe Hurley hasn't been up to this point the most observant or subtle guy, but like, I thought everybody just knew that now. It's like, I got a secret for you. I'm actually like addicted to heroin. It's like, yeah, dude. Well, everyone can tell.
Yeah.
But Charlie dismisses Hurley as a joke. Hurley's worth $156 million back at home. Meanwhile, Locke builds a cradle for Claire's baby, and she reveals that it was her birthday, and she's touched by the gesture.
Did Locke know it was her birthday? Is that your read on it, or he doesn't know?
I actually didn't catch this.
And
This
he
is
plays
just
it
in the
sweetly.
Wikipedia that said that like reveals that it was her birthday. I missed that. I was probably looking at my phone or something. So I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah.
Uh, um, I don't know how she didn't realize it was a cradle until he like turned it upside down and then it was a cradle. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've
It also looks like a cradle
momentarily.
upside down looks like a cradle.
It's a rectangle. Yeah, it's gonna be the same. It was kind of fun to think that like, oh, is he gonna go crazy mode again? Is he building a cage to keep Claire in? That's what Zoe and I thought as we were watching the episode. But no.
This is for you. Get in the box.
Or that he was just gonna like calmly and like nonchalantly just like build it around her, going Cask of Amontillado mode.
Slow motion. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's better.
Yeah, would you hold that?
Was gonna say Saw or something like that, but the cask of whatever, that Spanish guy is a much better pull.
The cursed numbers are ominously shown engraved on the hatch that Boone and Locke have discovered.
Ominously.
So, yeah. This is the best episode in a very long time, I thought. I'm loving the island mystery stuff. Locke's being cool once again. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
I'm going to give it a high 3.
All right.
Yep.
All right, moving on to episode 19. Deus Ex Machina. And then this is an episode of the show that, so I haven't like heard much about this show, but like for some reason I know about this episode. Like I've heard about like this is like a famous episode, right?
Is it?
I guess I don't know. I guess I've heard about it. Just in
okay.
the terms of like great television episodes of television, I've heard that this is one.
Okay. Sure.
Air date March 30th, 2005. Director Robert Mandel. Writers Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. Locke begins to suffer physical difficulties as he and Boone try to find their way into the hatch. Jack is reluctant to offer assistance when Sawyer begins to experience excruciating headaches. So this is another John Locke flashback episode. And when I'm seeing this, I'm kind of like, I'm down to learn more about John Locke for sure, because he's my favorite character. But I'm also a little bit like, don't ruin him. Just sort of like let him be this like mystery man, you know? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. In flashbacks, a non-paraplegic John Locke meets a mysterious woman named Emily, who reveals herself as his birth mother. Emily tells Locke that he was immaculately conceived and has no father. He's working in a toy store as like a customer service or as like a sales associate on the floor sort of thing.
Yes. Extremely knowledgeable. Would you like
extremely knowledgeable about
regulation?
Mousetrap.
I thought, don't they? Yes, about Mousetrap. That's true. His, soon to be mom, or I guess always mom, but soon to find out it's his mom. Is like, where are the footballs? And he's like, regulation aisle 3, Nerf aisle 15.
Well, do you know? He says. I'm
sure
Nerf
he says the
aisle,
actual numbers. Yeah.
Aisle 8 for regulation, aisle 15 for Nerf. So
aisle 15.
Two of the numbers. Yeah.
I can't.
15.
I can't remember the numbers, but yes, I know. Yeah.
Zoe called that out to me. I had to be like, oh. So shouts to her. I gotta say though, keep the probably. Well, do you want to keep the Nerf and the regulation footballs near to each other? I guess not. You probably have a whole Nerf section. You don't want to mix in the regulations like the serious athletes.
Actually,
but they wouldn't be like you wouldn't have them 7 aisles apart.
Okay. Actually,
1 aisle over.
Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson of Walmart over here. You would never put the footballs in separate aisles. The buyers of one will be interested in buying the other one. That's
right. Plot hole. Plot polar bears don't live in Hawaii. Also, seeing John Locke with hair is very funny. That's just a goofy look.
I mean, we're about to meet his dad, and it's very funny to see him stand next to his supposed dad, and just like, which one of you is the dad?
Yeah.
No offense, Terry, whatever your name is.
Terry O'Quinn.
O'Quinn, you're already an old guy. Sorry. I think they should have given Robert De Niro that haircut in The Irishman, though, instead of doing the CGI stuff. They should have just done the John Locke young guy haircut. Give it it's a little wavy, a little too long, a little wavy. It's like it was also like the the 2004 version of the 1980 version of the Macklemore haircut as well, where it doesn't completely cover his head. It's a little bit of an undercut, or like a proto undercut.
Yeah, I guess we don't know how old he's supposed to be in that flashback. Maybe it is just like he could be like supposed to be 20 years old. That would have been really funny. Just be a 20-year-old doing the full Irish treatment.
I won't graduate, Mom. Mom, I'm about to graduate next month.
I don't want to do homework. Yeah. It's also very funny. Okay, I got to admit this. I'm fooled by every hairpiece. Like people talk about like a bad toupee or whatever. Always works on me. I'm like, that's hair, baby. I don't know. I can't be like, I'm never like noticing somebody's wearing a wig. I assume that Terry O'Quinn is wearing a wig in these, but I'm not like, it's only because he's bald in the other scenes where it's not like I'm seeing where it attaches to the scalp.
Okay. I see through all of them.
So
if you're a real listener out there and you have a hairpiece, I see through it. You will never surprise me.
Not me. I'm a simp for your hairpiece. I will believe you. So intrigued, Locke hires a private investigator who finds his father, Anthony Cooper. They form a close relationship, and Locke eventually discovers that his father needs a kidney transplant. Locke offers his kidney, but after the surgery, he awakens to find Anthony has abandoned him. Emily walks in and reveals that Anthony tracked Locke down solely to get the transplant, leaving Locke devastated. He drives to Anthony's home.
He picks it up pretty quickly, I gotta say. Give him good credit for coming out of surgery and like almost like seeing the mom and almost immediately understanding what's going on. And she really picks up on that as well too.
I would need to it spelled out to me.
Because he's like, where's my dad? Where's my dad? There's no way that he went home. And I'd be still like, damn, Mom, that nurse is gonna bring me back some ice cream. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You know? No idea that anything's gone wrong.
This is the same.
I'd be showing up to my dad's place in a couple of weeks like, yo, what's up? And then the guy turning me away. And only then would I realize something is afoot. I don't know yet what's happened. And it would not register with me. Maybe he was upset. Maybe the kidney wasn't that great. Maybe he's upset at me because I had a bad
I'm sorry, you kind of a mid-kidney, a mid-knee.
Yeah.
Like Anthony sitting at home, just kind of like, shouldn't he be like watching the security footage and be like, shouldn't he like be trying to get in by now? And meanwhile, just like, all right, give my dad a nice kidney. Like I'm just continue on. He drives to Anthony's home, but is turned away by the gate guard, Eddie, leaving Locke heartbroken over his father's betrayal.
Eddie.
And he's like grabbing the bars. On the island, Locke and Boone attempt to open a mysterious hatch they found by building a trebuchet, but it fails. Locke begins losing feeling in his legs, causing him great concern.
Are you sure? Are you sure that's what's happening? Wikipedia summarizer? I trust you. But that was another scene where I'm like, what is going on? I've seen this show already and I still can't quite figure out what is he doing. I know that he must maybe not feel
He's just
something,
doing the stanky leg.
It's difficult. It's difficult to understand. He just starts poking
Are
himself.
you kidding me? That's super clear what's going on. He's like
I'm
burning his
not.
foot and like poking
Yes,
himself.
I
And you're
know, but
like, I
it's
guess
not.
he's just a freak like that.
It's not a very like. It's naturally to show on TV with somebody not saying anything. It's naturally still like uh very imprecise, I think is the best way to put it. Where I understand that he's not feeling something right now, but it's difficult to understand the extent to which that's true, right?
I guess so. I was tracking it pretty closely. I think I was right on the money about what was going on with his leg at that time.
Okay. Okay,
But
fine.
I'm just, I'm not just nice with it like that. Meanwhile, Sawyer is suffering from headaches, and Jack has a good time abusing his position as the only physician on the island throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
But you gotta,
in
yeah, I'll
another
give it
like,
up for him. I've been talking trash about the doctor thing on the island for a long time.
wait, you're gonna come to his defense on this?
I'm gonna come to his defense in the next couple episodes too, dude. Welcome to Island Vibes. You know, you can be a doctor and not be a doctor. There are no rules in the on the Isle of Interest. You can be an evil
Nah, dude.
doctor, I think.
I thought it was screwed up. I don't like the. It's another like entry in the like people are whack to Sawyer thing, and he like, I don't know, makes Sawyer disclose his medical history
Yeah.
not in private. He's like, if I'm gonna figure out what's wrong with your head, I'm gonna need to see your penis. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Come on, Jack. But no, it's turned out he's just farsighted, and Jack diagnoses the issue, and with Saeed's help, creates a pair of glasses for Sawyer from parts salvaged from the wreckage, allowing him to read comfortably. Specifically, the glasses from the wreckage. It wasn't like a door and a shoe that he made glasses out of. But yeah,
I would have simply, if I was a doctor, I'd say, how about you just stop being a fucking nerd over here and put down the book
check out Poindexter.
and
Yeah.
put down the book and pick up a gun. We're on the Isle of Interest right now.
Yeah.
Why are you still reading?
We haven't seen boar in
books?
a month. Somebody
Yeah.
go get a boar. I agree. Locke has a vivid dream in which he sees a Beechcraft plane that crashed in the jungle. His mother, himself in a wheelchair, and a bloodied Boone. He believes this is a sign from the island and wakes Boone to search for the plane. However, Locke's legs continue to weaken, making it difficult for him to walk. During their search, Boone and Locke discover a decayed body of a man dressed as a priest, carrying Nigerian currency and an unloaded handgun. Locke convinces Boone to come along with him because he tells him about this dream and tells him that like about this like traumatic event that happened to Boone when he was a kid. It's just like a Teresa fell up and down, or something like that. And Boone is like, "Oh, that was my like nanny, as a kid who fell and broke her neck on the stairs." As Locke's condition worsens, Boone climbs a tree to investigate the plane, discovering heroin-filled Virgin Mary statues, another corpse dressed as a priest, and a functioning radio.
Would you be
Boone
able to
uses the radio.
identify by sight? Would you have been able to identify
No.
heroin? No. Boone throws it out like
Not only
before he
that,
even
I
breaks
feel like
open.
Boone. Exactly. He sees a bunch of
Yeah.
statues and he's like, "Fucking great, heroin."
Yeah. Tosses it down. Yeah, I couldn't do that. So props to him and Locke for being eagle-eyed, you know, DEA agents over here.
Yeah. Also, it does seem like Boone is like immediately like, "Well, then there's nothing of use here."
Yeah.
Just immediately.
Wrong. You can get the drug addict on the island back on drugs. You know, he might be interested in that.
Yeah, some people really like that stuff, Boone. Boone uses the radio to send a distress call, identifying himself as a survivor of Oceanic Flight 815. To his shock, a voice responds. And so I didn't hear what the voice said. It was garbled. But this summary says that the voice responds and claims to be survivors of the same flight. Was that audible in this, or is that a spoiler that like this revealed?
It's audible.
It's audible?
You can hear some stuff.
Okay.
It's a little difficult to understand.
Okay.
I think you have to be eagle-eared.
Crank up the You got eagles in the brain, man.
Eagles can hear stuff, can't they? Eagles are eagle-eared and eagle-eyed.
But that's just not. Yeah, okay.
What else would the phrase be? I know that people don't use it, but it doesn't mean I can't use it.
Bad-eared.
Good-eared.
Bat-eared. Bats of good ears.
Well, that's confusing because it sounds like bad-eared if you don't actually have if you don't have eagle ears, which I don't.
For the eagle-eared among you, that's just really good. I just like that a lot. All right, so before Boone can understand what the voice says, the plane crashes into the ground, severely injuring him. It really smushes the whole front of the plane pretty significantly.
Yeah.
Locke manages to stand, carries Boone back to camp, and lies to Jack, saying Boone fell off a cliff while hunting.
Is that really a lie, though? He did fall off a cliff.
Thank you. I agree, and I maintain through this stretch of episodes, John Locke has done no wrong this far in the show. Zoe disagrees with me, but Locke is still babysitter number one in my book.
Disagree, but we'll see more of that in the next episode. So, anyway.
Okay. Locke returns to the hatch, desperate and angry, feeling betrayed by the island as his legs fail him. He pounds on the hatch door, crying out about his faith in the island. Seemingly in response, the hatch window illuminates with light. End of the episode. Are there monkeys on the island? I feel like we heard monkey noises at some point, like over by the Beechcraft. Okay.
I feel like a monkey is an expensive thing for a TV show to track down, you know? So this is a monkey-free island because of cost-cutting measures on the island.
Due to a casting agency accident, all of the monkeys have perished off screen. Okay, so everyone else definitely was thinking Locke and Boone are dating each other, right? Like they're sneaking off every day, never bringing anything back. Their excuse that like, oh, we were looking for Claire. Like Claire's been back. And they're like, all right, off to go look for Claire. Every single day, right? Like that's what's going on.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. You know, though, it did occur to me that, you know, back on the drug thing, if they had eagle brains and they could think a little faster, they would have taken those drugs and they would have pivoted their little business idea about the hatch, and they would pivot into becoming drug dealers on the island, because nobody could possibly suspect that it was, you know, coming from them. They could secretly deal to individual people on the island from their massive stash, and none of the cops, you know, Jack mostly, would ever be any wiser, because how could they possibly be dealing drugs to people? Where did they get the drugs from on this sort of deserted island? But that's just me. I've got an eagle brain.
Yeah, you got mogul mindset going on.
Yeah.
You would have been making moves.
Yeah.
Another thing I noticed, while Boone was climbing up the cliff to get to the airplane, they blurred the logo on his underpants because presumably Ian Somholder, whatever the actor's name is, showed up in his in particular undies and got in the costume, and then like how it didn't clear the Calvin Klein logo clearance or whatever.
I didn't catch that. Okay.
Oh, you might say I got eyes like an eagle.
Yeah, you got eyes like an eagle.
Yep. All right, so if you're enjoying this episode, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and supporting us on patreon.com/DrSkeleton. Back to the show. Season 1, episode 20. Do no harm. You like that little mid-roll? Little promo halfway through?
Use your eagle fingers to quickly tap the like and
Navigate.
subscribe button.
Mm-hmm. Soar on over to patreon.com. Do No Harm is the name of this episode. It aired April 6th, 2005, directed by Stephen Williams, written by Janet Tamaro.
Whoa.
Tamaro.
Damn, not another cool name. If her name was Tamaro, that'd be pretty cool.
Tamaro. Boone fights for his life, while Jack frantically searches for a survivor who shares Boone's blood type. Elsewhere, Kate stumbles upon Claire, alone and clearly in labor, but can't find anyone to help.
Can I actually that a little bit? I don't know if this is Neil deGrasse Tyson mindset. This is probably more like Richard Dawkins mindset, but like, how is Boone fighting for his life when he's just hanging out there on the table? Why do you get the group valor? No, Jack is fighting for his life. Jack is fighting for Boone's life.
A lot of people who succumb to illnesses are actually very weak. Is your take?
There you go. Now you've taken it into Dawkins territory or whatever. Is that the guy? I think I'm thinking of the right guy, right?
I don't know.
Whatever. Just imagine an annoying nerd.
Some annoying, mean nerd.
Yeah. Not me, but another person.
It's a real stretch for us to get in a character for that, but
couldn't be us at all.
Mm-hmm. This is quite an episode. This is a pretty intense episode. At the end. Thanks for listening. Okay, so flashbacks. This is a Jack episode, and I gotta say, as Jack heavy as this episode is, he comes through, I would say, for the most part.
I've got a
flashbacks show.
There's a good, how would you say, dark horse character in here, and I'll bring it up when it comes to it. But I've got a favorite character in this episode for sure.
Okay, I think I do too. And I wonder if it's the same one. Flashbacks show both the build-up to and the event of Jack's wedding to Sarah, a former patient whom he fixed after she was injured in a car accident. Sarah, played by Julie Bowen. Jack agonizes over his vows, and his father, Christian Shepherd, surprises him by showing up to the pool, giving Jack advice about writing the vows. His father says that Jack's strength is his commitment, and that his problem is that he is just not good at letting go. Jack thinks over his father's words and eventually writes his vows just in time for the ceremony, finally settling on extolling how Sarah has fixed him, not the other way around. So, if this island is this purgatorial setting for people to be haunted by their pasts, Jack is definitely here for the sin of fumbling Julie Bowen. That's absolutely what's going on.
I can't tell from your description so far who you like, so I'm just going to say it now. I think Jack's dad is the best character in this episode, and I was rooting for him. I was like, damn, you showed up and you gave him some kind of good but also ominously possibly bad advice, and then Jack also
that's the way to do it.
Jack gives a very ominous wedding vow as well, right? Like, he doesn't, Wikipedia guy, wrong. He does not write the vow. He shows up and wings it on the spot, and it's not clear if he's about to get cold feet and give a speech before getting cold feet, which is very evil. But then they're cutting back to Jack's dad, and he's kind of just sitting there like, let's see, what have I created today? And I thought that was very cool. Because for as kind of evil as a guy, he's a cool, evil guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Christian is a very cool character. I agree. But I mean, my favorite character is Julie Bowens because she's cool. But yeah, Jack's vows are it's a very TV thing to sort of like start out the vows by being like suggesting you might be about to just run away from the altar, something like that.
Yeah.
But then turn it around. But rhetorically, that's kind of a fun little journey to take in the scene. But it's a very, I don't want to say writing vows is easy, but you can write okay vows probably really easy. I don't know why it's got to be like such a hard time with it. It isn't a nice little rhetorical trick to just be like, I was trying to figure out what to write down, and I just couldn't come up with anything. So I'm just going to speak from the heart. I'm going to throw this paper away, and I'm just going to just give it to you straight. Like that's pretty, I don't know, basic move there. Cheap heat on the vows there, and also like I think it's supposed to land as like a really like meaningful moment because he's able to like say like, no, actually, you fixed me. I'm so in love with you, XYZ. But I think I gotta dock major points for basically your speech or your vows at your wedding being like, wife, actually, you're wrong. Because that's what it kind of came down to.
Yeah. It's goofy TV writer.
Well, actually,
what if a guy showed up and said, you know what? Fuck this wedding. Because it should just be between the two of us. But you know what? I shouldn't even be here today. Because it should just be between the two of us somewhere else. And I don't deserve you.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to introduce you all to.
I'm not a TV writer. I don't know.
Well, what's the joke? Like this is my soon-to-be ex, girlfriend, because fiance, because marriage. That was good. Yours was better. Nice work. On the island, but also sorry, Jack's delivery. Or Matthew Fox he's got an annoying voice. He's got a little nerdy voice.
Yeah.
Okay, on the island, Boone has been critically injured by his fall inside the Beechcraft in the previous episode. Beechcraft got to be thrilled for all these shout-outs and the branded shout-outs in the Wikipedia summaries. They're thrilled. He has lost a lot of blood. One of his lungs has collapsed and his right leg is crushed. Jack sends Kate off to get some alcohol from Sawyer. On her way back, she discovers that Claire has gone into unexpected labor. Saeed surprises Shannon with a torchlit dinner. This shit, dude. This is so goofy. The Saeed and Shannon stuff is so goofy. She should be with me. Shannon tells Saeed that Boone is only her stepbrother and that he is kind of in love with her. And Saeed's just like, right on, whatever.
She's like, I need to tell you something. Boone isn't my brother. He's my stepbrother. And he's in love with me. I mean, like, why'd you say that first part? Because to me,
right,
you're still siblings. That's
whatever.
Pretty messed up. Tells me a lot about you.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it more
for it to be such a big difference, like makes you think the second part is maybe more okay. Yeah. Boone needs a transfusion of type A negative. Jack sends Charlie to find one of the other survivors with a matching blood type. When he unsuccessfully returns, only 4 people know their blood type. And they're all named Scott. They're like, Scott's type A. Like, we'll go get him. He's like, shit, I just wrote Scott down 4 times. Okay.
Yeah.
Jack decides to give Boone some of his O negative blood. Jack tries to use bamboo as a needle, but can't pierce his skin. This is a nasty
It's just
episode, dude.
it's just a goofy way to put it, too. Jack decides to give him some of his blood. That's like what you say about a kindergartner,
You thirsty?
like giving them feedback like to their mom at the end of the day. Oh, it was really sweet. Jack decided to give some of his lunch to Sarah or whatever. You don't just decide to give some of your blood to the other dude. Whatever. I don't know my blood type either, gotta say. Do you?
Yeah, same. No.
I'm like AB-ish. But it's like
in there. I'm probably A through O. I'm one of those.
I guess if you don't know, you could just get the O negative from somebody else, probably, right?
I don't even want to talk about this. We're moving on.
Okay,
Sun
sorry.
solves the problem by moving. I'm sorry. I got the thing where I pass out if I think about this too much. Sun solves the problem by providing a sea urchin. All right, moving on. Jin. Any episode, whatever. Go to the Patreon.
You're gonna have to watch the episode to know what the sea urchin has to do with anything.
This was nasty, dude. This was like yeah, whatever. It's like pokey. It's like there's a whole like, oh, I can't like pierce my skin. It's like Jesus. Oh, that's so. It's like I don't want to watch a medical procedural here. Gross. Get that off my TV. Jin, while working on the nuke raft, hears Kate's call for help and rushes to her and Claire. Despite the language barrier, blood. I'm just like gonna say it's. I'm trying so hard not to think about it. Okay. Kate is able to tell Jin to go ahead and find Jack. Jin rushes to the caves, but Jack is occupied. Jack tells Jin, with the aid of Sun translating, to take Charlie to Kate and Claire, and gives Charlie instructions for Kate on delivering the baby. That track. Let me just quickly go over this next bit. Sun stops what Jack is doing because Jack is going pale, and Jack tries to save Boone's leg, but it is beyond repair, and Boone will die if it is not amputated, according to Jack.
Jack asks, didn't give it. He just got nervous, like you too. I've never done this before. I don't like the sight of it.
Yeah.
Now he finally admits he's not a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm a Dr. Dre kind of doctor. I've been lying all along. I got lucky those other times.
Jack asks Michael Dawson to find a way to cut off Boone's leg. And I guess I missed the part where like Michael explains what the machine is, but like it's basically, it seems like they found like a big leg chopper. Like it's presumably like the luggage bin or something, or like the
I think
some part of the airplane.
I think they
was like, hey, oh yeah, we can just use this guillotine.
Yeah, I think he might have had it because of the wood cutting. You know, I think that's the implication. Okay. Not that he's randomly knowledgeable about how to guillotine somebody with on-hand aircraft equipment.
But he would be the one. He's a construction guy. I think that's how those guys are doing things out there. Boone suddenly regains consciousness and tells Jack to just let him go. Boone reveals to Jack that he and John Locke...
He literally is just like, can you not do that? I'm gonna die anyway, yeah. So could you just save me the embarrassment of chopping off my leg with a luggage thing?
Yeah. You're just going around.
Let me go and
chopping different things up.
Yeah.
It's the scene again where they're all trying to kill the air marshal, and everybody's getting there to cut a different piece of Boone off with the guillotine. I mean, try cutting off his arm. Does that help?
We need to save this my arm. We need to do this in the most humane way possible. So let's cut off his legs first, and then he'll die tomorrow.
Yeah. Boone reveals to Jack at the end there that he and John Locke discovered a mysterious hatch, and Locke told him not to tell anybody else. And he says something about like the airplane, like it wasn't like a cliff the way that Locke said. Boone says, "Tell Shane and I," but dies without finishing the sentence.
Claire gives birth to the everybody thinking that Locke and Boone were just running off to get together in the forest, because then
Yeah.
like Boone's response makes it sound like Boone's response is a little dark, because it almost makes it sound like he's like Locke is treating him like a child, like, don't tell anybody about this,
Oh
keep
no.
this a secret, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's how he says it. And Jack, no, what did Locke do to you? What did he tell you? It was a
What do you-
secret. You can tell
He
me.
said
There's
not
no
to
secret.
say.
You shouldn't
Yeah.
have secrets with adults. Yeah. The hash. What's the hash? Very ominous.
Yeah. Claire gives birth to a healthy baby boy through with Kate's coaching. Jack tells Shannon that Boone had died in such a goofy, like the like they come like Shannon and Saeed come around the corner like holding hands. It makes it makes it hit so less hard. What am I trying to say? Like it ruins it so much to have them just like, I don't know. This relationship is really getting to me.
Mm. I want to
Luckily, I
say
think we
on
only have to deal with one more episode.
I want to say on the birth thing, I like that there's
Yeah.
this moment where, Jin's interacting with people now, and he's kind of in the middle of something,
Yeah.
sort of helping out. But he's obviously still lost in translation on a lot of this stuff. And everybody's Charlie and Kate, everybody else too, kind of freaking out. And then all of a sudden there's this moment where Jin is kind of like the calm and collected person, and he goes up to
Mm-hmm.
whatever, Australia person. Can't think of her name, 20 episodes in, whatever.
Claire.
And it gives you, at least for me, the viewer, you're like, oh damn, are we gonna find out like, oh, actually Jin's done at home births before, something like that, and he's gonna solve this or whatever. It's kind of like that vibe for a moment, and everybody kind of turns to look at him, like, oh, look at what this guy who
No, he
came
just
to
has like
talk to us.
confidence and
Yeah,
like
and then
is being able to be collected about things.
yeah, and then later, yeah, because then later it cuts back and it's like, no, Jin's just sitting there with Charlie, and he's just like, yeah, like nodding,
Yeah.
like,
And he stops him from going
did a
over
good
there.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but does
Yeah.
nothing really. Doesn't deliver the baby or anything like that. So I thought that was a fun
Able to stay
dynamic.
out the way though. That's important in that
Sure.
in that situation.
It's a good way to get credit. I'll do that in the future too. If I'm ever on an island, I'll just come by and kind of give
Hang
the vibe
back.
to everyone, like, oh, this
It's not your
guy's,
place. It's not
this
our
guy-
place.
he knows what he's gonna do. He's gonna save the day, and just confidently, just calm down, and then walk away. My job here is done.
Yep.
You guys can get
Oh,
back
man,
to
that
the labor.
guy's cool.
The labor part.
Yeah. Good luck. Hope it all goes well. Yeah. I mean, once again, DDK, excellent physical actor. He's very fun to watch. He's great. So yeah, Jack tells Shannon that Boone has died. Shannon immediately goes to the caves and cries over Boone's dead body. Jack goes looking for Locke, thinking that Boone was murdered. So this was another great one, but points off for the Saeed and Shannon relationship and Jack being mad at John Locke. He should not be mad. It's totally fine. Everything. He's done nothing wrong. Also, I'm vindicated in yet another area. When the time comes, Sawyer like provides the alcohol, no problem. He's a mensch. Like Kate's like, we need the alcohol. Boone's hurt, and he's like, all right, here you go. Like, there's none of this back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
listen, Sawyer's good. Locke has his reasons for his stuff. Okay, leave him alone. All right, last episode for the day.
I want to say I'll give that episode
Greater
my
good.
first. What I think is my first 4. It's
Okay,
It's good.
yeah, it's a 4 for me as well. Season 1, episode 21, The Greater Good, air date May 4th, 2005. Directed by David Grossman, written by Leonard Dick. Devastated by the loss of her brother, Shannon vows to get revenge on Locke, who she believes is responsible for Boone's death. Elsewhere, Jack succumbs to stress and exhaustion and is forced to take some rest with the help of some sedatives that Kate slips into his drink. All right, we got some Saeed flashbacks here. In flashback, Saeed is arrested at Heathrow Airport on false terrorism charges and is coerced by the Australian Secret Service, or the Australian Secret Intelligence Service, and the CIA to infiltrate a terrorist cell in Sydney, which includes his old friend Assam. Saeed agrees after being told that they can help him find Nadia, a woman he has been searching for since he helped escape Iraq years ago. After gaining Assam's trust, Saeed realizes that Assam is in over his head, but the agents demand that Saeed convinces Assam to go through with the suicide bombing to lead them to the explosives, threatening Nadia's life if he refuses. Bit of complicated sentence, but whatever, I think you get it. On the day of the attack, Saeed reveals to Assam that he is an informant, leading a devastated Assam to commit suicide. Blows his brains out right there in the truck. The agents give Saeed Nadia's location in California and a plane ticket, but when he learns Assam's body will be cremated, he insists on claiming it for a proper Muslim burial, delaying his flight by 1 day, which places him on Oceania Flight 815. We learned that a philosophy grad in Australia could maybe go into cutting trees. That was a big takeaway I got from Assam's backstory.
Yeah.
It's providing me a potential, next move. On the island, Saeed observes Shannon mourning Boone's death, while Kate tracks down a distraught Jack, who blames Locke for Boone's demise. Jack is like crashing out this whole episode, and I'm back to disliking Jack. During Boone's funeral, Locke arrives to explain what happened. Okay, this is maybe the one criticism I will levy at John Locke. I'm not an unreasonable person. He could have timed that better. He could have maybe not shown up during the funeral and just sort of hollered, like, as they were like wrapping up, "It was my fault. Don't be super mad at me though." Just maybe come talk about it later. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Locke arrives to explain what had happened, but Jack, consumed by anger, attacks him. Jack later tells Saeed, son, and Kate that Locke is lying, but they urge him to rest. Shannon, still furious with Locke, asks Saeed to deal with him, implying she wants Locke dead. Want him dead. Meanwhile, Charlie tries to help Claire with her baby, but struggles until he discovers that Sawyer's voice soothes the infant. When he's talking, baby's quiet. Kate tends to an exhausted Jack and, realizing his determination to confront Locke, drugs him to ensure that he rests, freeing Saeed to handle Locke. He confronts Locke and demands to see the Beechcraft plane. As they trek to the plane, Saeed interrogates Locke, who eventually admits he was the one who knocked Saeed out while he was triangulating the distress signal. That was a bit of a reveal there, huh? And I'm thinking back to like, oh, okay, that made sense earlier in that in this season when Locke was like, it was probably Sawyer. I was like, why do you need to be blaming Sawyer? He's just coming up with somebody to blame. Saeed grows angry and demands answers about the hatch, but Locke lies, pretending Boone's mention of a hatch referred to the plane's hatches. This was very wily of him. The hatches?
Yeah.
He can already tell when Saeed can tell when people are lying, and he's really gambling with it right there. He really doesn't want to give up that hatch.
Yeah.
He's got his reasons, though. They're not ready for it. Saeed tells Shannon that he believes Locke did not intend to harm Boone. But Shannon, driven by anger, steals the key to the gun case from a sleeping Jack and confronts Locke. Saeed, Kate, and Jack intervene, but Shannon fires at Locke, grazing his head. Later, Saeed visits Locke, who thanks him for saving his life. Saeed warns Locke that he only intervened because he believes Locke is their best chance for survival, and then demands to see the hatch. End of episode. People are being fucked up to Locke. I mean, I guess I know that Saeed has reason to be upset with him because he like bonked him, but come on, chill.
Yeah, but you have to, not everybody knows that they're on a TV show. Locke knows he's on a TV show. I don't think the other people do. So
he is a very self-aware character, yeah, in that way.
Yeah. We're not just trying to get off this island anymore in Locke's mind, I think. Or he's got a very roundabout way about it, right?
Oh yeah, Locke is thriving. That conversation that he and Walt had, where he's like Walt doesn't want to get off the island, so he burned down the boat. And Locke's like, yeah, I think it's cool here too. In the flashbacks, Saeed really pulls some bullshit on his friend. That sucked of him.
That was that's one of the darker stories, if not the darkest flashback so far. Again, the year
that was really tough.
2004. And also, presumably that was quite a bit before. Well, I guess not quite a bit before, but it was before he got on the plane. So, yeah, still probably 2004-ish, 2003-ish. Yeah, the day before. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
We're early on. Isn't the invasion of Iraq like 2003?
Mm-hmm. I guess it's like the CIA really do be like that. So good on them for that, but like it sucks of Saeed to go along with it in this in such a way, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love shooting themselves in the head in this show. I've noticed a little pattern so far. The flashbacks, Sawyer's flashback, and Asim as well. Interesting. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5, and overall, still trust in Locke. This was a great episode. Happy about
it. This is a 3 for me, but a high one. Still a good episode.
Yeah, I can't do that. That's cowardly to modify the number. To me,
it's not a modified number. I'm just, I colored in the star quickly. In my head, all of these are they're empty stars, and I'm coloring them in with a yellow crayon, because that's my level of intellect.
Bad mindset.
Yeah.
But so high 3 is no different than 3 or low 3.
It's no different than 3, but I colored it in very carefully. I took extra care. If I was ranking them, it would be on the high. It would be you got all the 3s together. They're not all equal.
Okay.
Higher end of 3s.
Yeah, makes sense. Maybe that's what we should do. We should rank all 121 episodes of the show as we go.
I did look up some rankings of Lost episodes recently, and man, the best is probably yet to come. But also,
I sure hope so. We have like most of it ahead.
Though there is at least one terrible episode, like maybe 2 seasons off from us now.
Ooh,
which makes it sound like it's better than it is. I guess if you say it's a terrible episode, you're actually kind of looking forward to it maybe, but it'll just be a boring episode. A really bad one. But you said one of the ones we watched today was well known as a very good episode. This one is known as like the worst episode in the series. But someone in it who I want to introduce you to.
Look ahead to this kind of ambiguously featured episode.
Bad episode.
Yeah.
Sometime in the next 1 to 2 seasons.
God, I could have been doing something during all that time that we were waiting for the laptop to charge. But that would be looking up. Oh, we have one more episode episode of the podcast for the season. We've got 4 more episodes to watch at the end of season 1. We've got Born to Run, episode 22, and then the 3-part season finale. A 3-part season finale.
3-part. They should just make the whole season finale after that. Have a 26-part season finale.
Yeah, Exodus Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. I don't think I've seen such an audacious maneuver from anybody before.
Those are the 3 books of the Bible, right? That's how they break it up too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Genesis, Leviticus,
You-
Exodus, part 1, part
you're
2,
really-
part 3.
Yeah, you're really showing your ass on the Bible stuff here today, Ben. Not knowing King Midas, not knowing that Exodus actually has 4 parts. Really embarrassing stuff. But yeah, one more to go for this for season 1. I think it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I am in a way better mood than last week. Excited for what is yet to come. That's going to do it for us today. Remember, if you like this episode, we do these as video episodes. And so we're on youtube.com where you can subscribe to us and comment nice things about my attitudes towards these characters. And but we're on Patreon. You can write into the show. drskeletionsartschool@gmail.com. And thanks for listening. Your patronage is very appreciated. We're glad that you're on the island with us.
Island.
Goodbye.